Blue-winged olives have provided some of the best trout fishing of the spring and fall for me over the years. During heavy hatches, this particular cripple pattern has been super effective, and even though it's a simple tie, it's usually done the trick for me. Here's how I tie it. Attach your thread and then move the thread to a little before the halfway point. Now come back about half the distance as your tie-in spot. Turn the vise with the tie-in point now on top, and then grab your parapost material and tie down onto the material. If it rolls a little, just reposition it and tie back about 5 or 6 turns. Note that you can't really break the material as you tighten down, so you have to live with a little bump. Snip off the tag end and make a few more turns to bind it down even better. The next step is to wrap in front of the wing material to cause it to stand straight up, or ultimately to the side. Wrap 360 degrees once around the parapost and then turn the vise so that the wing is on the side. Position the wing where you like it with a few tugs and shimmies. Now wind the thread back so you can give your fly a tail. Cut out maybe 5 or 7 micro fibbits and measure them out to the length of the shank. Now grab them with your other hand at the place where you marked the measurement. Position them on the side and bind them down to the hook with 1 or 2 wraps so that they are oriented on top of the fly. Now take a wrap under the fibers to give them a little boost. To give yourself a more even body, take the tag end of the micro fibbits and cut them right about where they will touch the thorax. Give a snip and loosely wrap around the fibers up the shank, and bring the thread back to the bend of the hook by laying more or less a smooth body. Now apply your superfine dubbing. Make sure to apply the tiniest amount of dubbing to the thread. Also squeeze and roll the dubbing nice and tight so that you'll have as close to a piece of thread as possible. When your dubbing is ready, wind the dubbing up with decent tension, trying to make a smooth transition up to the thorax. Apply more dubbing if necessary to complete the taper around the thorax. At this point, tie in a bare hackle stem where your thread ended. Here I'm using a super saddle. Then wrap in front of the parapost and cover the rest of the hackle stem. After this, make a nice smooth transition with your thread. Wrap your hackle forward with as close wraps to each other as possible. I go 3 wraps in front and 3 in back of the parapost. When you get to the front, take 2 or 3 wraps, trying to keep the hackle out of the way of the thread. And turn the fly upside down to finish. If there are bits of stubborn hackle shooting forward over the eye, I push them back and pinch them a bit so that they'll change orientation just a bit. Now don't panic here and end up with a head that looks like a wet gerbil. Pinch the hackle between your fingers and pull everything back just a bit. Take a few careful thread wraps in front, trying at all costs to keep the thread in front of the hackle. Don't overdo it or you'll smash down all of the hackle. You want the hackle to be perpendicular still. Now whip finish from this position with quite a few wraps if you have the room and proper thread diameter. Snip your thread and turn the pattern right side up. Now it's time to clip the parapost. Pull it to the front, out of the way of the hackle after you've measured it by hand, and snip it off. Incidentally, I normally tie the wing on the side facing away from me, since it's a bit easier to manage during the tying process, but I did the opposite in this video so that it was easier on the eye and camera. Finally, fluff the hackle to both sides on the bottom of the fly. Now snip the bottom of the fly so that it rides lower in the water column. This is what the helpless little cripple will look like when you're done. Imbalance is key, and when you're trying to compete with a lot of naturals, this guy is an easy meal. Feed it to some trout near you. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to get our videos when they come out, subscribe here. We'll be doing a lot more helpful videos on as many patterns and fish species as possible in the future, so if you have any ideas or requests, let us know. Thanks again. Now wherever you are, get outside and catch some fish.